Mr. President, thank you for organizing this important briefing. I also express Guyana's appreciation to UNRWA Commissioner General Philip Lazzarini and Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Egeland, for the valuable information and perspectives provided. We pay today a tribute to all humanitarian workers in Gaza, and given the focus of today's meeting, especially to Commissioner General Lazzarini and the staff of UNRWA for their unwavering commitment and service in the face of immense challenges. Mr. President, as I said a few weeks ago, UNRWA is now at a critical crossroads with extremely difficult prospects ahead of it in light of the entry into force of certain aspects of the legislation adopted by the Israeli Knesset last October. The international community, including the General Assembly and Security Council, must do all in its power to safeguard UNRWA's role in the occupied Palestinian territory. Dismantling the agency's operations will have catastrophic consequences for the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who depend on the agency's services. This is especially true at this time when Palestinians are seeking to recover from 15 months of brutal war and hardship. On this latter note, Guyana notes the unfolding developments in the Gaza Strip following the activation of the ceasefire agreement on 19th of January. We are pleased that the supply of humanitarian aid into Gaza has been ramped up, with hundreds of trucks, including UNRWA's, having entered since the start of the ceasefire. As a demonstration of its capacity to mobilize quickly and on a large scale, UNRWA brought in enough food to Gaza in 4 days to feed 1 million people. In fact, as Commissioner General Lazzarini reminded, 60% of all the food that came into Gaza since the start of the ceasefire has come in through UNRWA. Guyana urges that the parties continue to uphold their obligation to ensure the rapid, safe, unhindered, and sustained delivery of humanitarian aid to civilians in need. Palestinians in Gaza must receive our full support to rebuild their lives and livelihoods, and all impediments to this end must be removed. Mr. President, as international attention is pivoted towards recovery and reconstruction in Gaza, it is critical to keep in view the broader question of justice for the Palestinians in light of what they have experienced over the past 7 decades, and more so during the brutal war of the last 15 months. Record numbers have been killed and injured, and over 90% of all infrastructure, including homes and other critical infrastructure, have been damaged or destroyed, with piles of rubble as far as the eye can see. Yet, Mr. President, yesterday alone, we witnessed a throng of more than 200,000 Palestinians returning to their homes in North Gaza, and more will follow. They know the likelihood of finding their homes intact is almost zero, but they also know that this is their home, this is their land, even if flattened. As the famous Chilean poet Pablo Neruda wrote, "You can cut all the flowers, but you cannot prevent spring from coming." Even amidst the more than 50 million tons of rubble, it is this spring, this hope for a new day in an independent state of their own, and the drums of war silenced, that lies in the heart of every Palestinian, and which fuels their unparalleled resilience. Guyana therefore urges respect for the right of Palestinians to their territory, in line with the pre-1967 borders, and call on the international community to protect this right and reject any suggestions of involuntary resettlement. An effectively functioning UNRWA is also part of a just response to the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. We are all aware of the massive efforts that would be required for relief, reconstruction, and recovery in Gaza. UNRWA is the only agency that has the capacity and experience to facilitate the delivery of services to Gazans, both in the near and long term,